Hello class, my name is Hunter.
And I'm Quinn.
And for our presentation, we decided to dive at Jolla Cove and study the behavior of fishes during dusk and dawn.
Jolla Cove is part of the San Diego La Jolla Underwater Park, which is 6,000 acres and goes from La Jolla Cove to Black's Beach, which is past Scripps Pier, and was founded in 1970. In this underwater park, there is the Look But Don't Touch Ecological Reserve and the Marine Life Refuge. And the Look But Don't Touch Reserve is 533 acres. It was founded in 1971, and it goes from La Jolla Cove to midway of La Jolla Shores Beach, and there is no fishing or scavenging. The Marine Life Refuge, it surrounds Scripps Pier and was founded in 1929, and there is recreation and fishing permitted in this zone. And also in the underwater park, there's La Jolla Canyon, the Scripps Canyon. La Jolla Canyon starts at 100 feet where it is gradual until then, and then drops 500 feet and is final at 600 feet deep. The Scripps Canyon is 1 mile long and is 980 feet deep. The habitats in the ecological reserve consist of rocky reef, sand flats, kelp bed, and submarine canyons. At the rocky reef, it ranges from the cove to marine room, and here you'll find your basic reef fish like Garibaldi, horn sharks, kelp bass, and senoritas. In the sand flats, it ranges from Scripps and La Jolla Shores Beach to about marine room, and here you'll find your surf perches, your corbina, and also in this picture you can see the sand dollars. At the kelp beds, they are outside of the cove and La Jolla Shores, and here you'll find your more pelagic fish and like your giant sea bass, and also you might find whales due to the depth change of the canyon. And finally, there's the submarine canyons, the Scripps and La Jolla, and here you'll find nudibranches, eels, and swell sharks.
The fish that we saw during our dive from the Chordata phylum include the sheephead, Garibaldi. You see a kelp bass in the top left corner. Garibaldi was the bottom left. There's a senorita in the top right. We also saw surf perches, schools of anchovy, and sardines. We also seen around stingrays and shovel-nosed guitarfish, and it's common to see bat rays in La Jolla, but we did not see any of them in either of our 4 dives. Finally, you can see leopard sharks and horn sharks in La Jolla Cove. And in the bottom right corner, you see the horn shark, and that was during one of our night dives. And you can tell that's a horn shark from the raised eyebrows. From the Mollusca phylum, we saw abalones, which you can see I'm holding in the bottom left corner, however that one is empty. And we also saw coast mussels, which are similar to those of bay mussels, however these are more evolved to withstand wave crash. From the Cnidaria phylum, we saw sea anemones, which you can see in the middle of that picture in the top right corner. And those are typical, you find those typically in shallower waters. And from the Chinodermata phylum, we see sea urchins, which are commonly found in the crevices and cracks of reefs and rocks, and the sand dollars, which are in the sand flats, which Quinn had stated earlier. At dawn, it is common to see the nocturnal animals retreating to the depths, while the diurnal animals retreat from the depths, from the caves and crevices and cracks that they find to survive the night. And 1/2 to 2/3 of fish are actually diurnal. So once they actually come to the surface, there's a period of intense feeding where these animals gorge themselves, and they're in a period of satiation until they feed again once at night. And all of this is possible from the current, the California current that comes from the Northeast Pacific. This brings nutrients and other food sources for all these animals to eat. At dusk, since fish are cold-blooded, they warm up from the sun throughout the day, and they feed for a second time since their first meal at dawn. And also after this meal, they begin to find shelter and breed, and so they can be protected during the night. And during our dusk dives, we saw sea lions, which were in pairs of 2, and they were playing more than they were in the morning, and they were probably mating since they were always in couples. We saw lobsters coming out from their caves to feed, and since they were no longer in the view of predators. We saw leopard sharks, which feed during the night on crustaceans, and finally we saw eels, which come out to eat at night since their vision is horrible, but their olfactory sense is very powerful. Thank you for listening to our presentation on our La Jolla Cove dives, and here's our works cited page. Thanks again.